What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner. Welcome back to Nuggets Today, presented by Fan Arts. We do have some topics to cover for you guys, some potential news out there for the Denver Nuggets and just the league in general. And the first thing I want to start with is a potential trade target for the Denver Nuggets. Somebody who I don't think has been spoken about at all, because I think he's been a big piece of this organization with the Indiana Pacers, and that is TJ McConnell. Now, TJ McConnell is not the fanciest and the sexiest name out there for the Denver Nuggets, but he is somebody who can really man the bench unit for Denver and be the backup ball handling point guard if Denver was to bring one in. I know right now Denver's relying on their bigs to be those guys that you're going to play through, and I know we continue to say that, continue to cover it. You have Cam, Bruce, the guys who are going to play those backup roles, and you have a backup center who can also handle a little bit and dish it, just not as well as Jokic, but to a, obviously a higher level when it comes to the center. But TJ McConnell is a guy who's sort of interesting to me because you lose Tyrese Halliburton to an injury for the entire season. Maybe he makes an appearance at the end of this season if he even can, but they're probably not competing for anything. Now, Halliburton or McConnell is a little bit of an older player. He's not super old, but he's a vet in the league. He's jumped around from, I think, a few teams. I remember him back on Philly, but like I said, I know he's a pretty big player for this organization, but what do you do in this exact moment? You don't really know. There's not much to say you are going to do, especially with Halliburton missing the season. I did see that they said that I believe Andrew Nembhard will be manning the point guard spot for a while while Halliburton is out. And I mean, with the trade or the potential trade, it would have to come with Denver giving somebody up. Now, the first trade offer I was building is a second round pick and Peyton Watson for him. And I know that a lot of people don't want to lose Watson just because of the archetype that he is. As a player, he is a lengthy body who can extend the floor. He's 23 years old. The only thing that I didn't like was the finishing at the rim. And I know that TJ is not the best shooter, but he's not the worst shooter in the world. He'll hit a three here and there, but he doesn't take a lot. I know that was one of Denver's problems, so it doesn't fix much. But at the same time, he's a guy that finishes around the rim. His little fadeaway from the block is something that's not talked about at all. So do I think it's the best move in the world? No. But do I think it's a move that is potentially realistic? Sure, because Denver gets to move on from Watson, who's a guy that maybe they don't want to move on from, but at the same time, you're going to have to extend him anyway. And the Pacers get a young talent at the wing and get rid of a veteran on a deal. Now, the second trade would be something that's a little more unrealistic, but something that I think every Denver fan in the world would want to hear, and that is that Denver gives up Zeke Naji, Hunter Tyson, and a 2028 second-round pick for TJ McConnell. Not saying that they're going to do it, but it also does give them a little bit of leverage, the Indiana Pacers, just because you get a guy like Zeke Naji, who can fill in that void of Thomas Bryant leaving this offseason. He did sign with, I believe it was the Cavs a couple days ago. So it does give you that a little bit of flexibility there with a younger potential, backup center power forward combo. And the third trade would be a 3-team deal. The Nuggets would get TJ McConnell. The Pacers would receive Julian Strawther in a second. And then when you throw in that third team would just get a guy like Obi, whatever vet is on a vet contract from Indiana, just for them to clear a roster spot and, some cap room. So it's basically insert third team there. You guys know I'm huge on Julian Strawther. I think that he's a guy in this Denver organization that really can make a difference. So I wouldn't want to move him personally, but like I said, when it comes out to contracts and things that work, I guess that's something that Denver would have to look into if they really want to move and go get a guy like TJ McConnell. I do think that he's a guy who's a proven veteran in this league and can make a difference on a playoff team. So if that's something that's possible for Denver, I would 100% explore that. Now, this guy I want to talk about real quick is a guy who I'm very surprised left the NBA. That's Talen Horton-Tucker. If you guys didn't know him, guy played for the Lakers for a little while. He was a Chicago Bull as well, and he's a very good defender. I know that there was a lot of hype around him on the Lakers, but I do think that he was a guy that Denver, beginning of the offseason, I believe I covered him, Denver could have used him. He's almost like a Cody Martin caliber of player, somebody who can just be, the 12th to 15th man and actually get some minutes and and those minutes could be sort of valuable. So he did sign a deal in the EuroLeague, which, like I said, I'm a little surprised that a guy of his caliber did leave the NBA so early in his career, because he is on the younger side. Now, another free agent that's still in the market is said to have his eyes on a new team, and that is Seth Curry. The sources are saying that he will be looking into signing with the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors are looking into him. The Curry brother combo, I think that, the two sharpshooters together could work. Curry, both of them are sort of coming up the end of their career. He is a cheaper option, somebody who I wanted Denver to bring in for a little while, but he does add, depth to that team when it comes to shooting. The Warriors are not a very deep team. I think that they could build something special, depending on this Kuminga deal, where you bring in Horford, Payton, Seth Curry, and like I've covered a couple episodes ago, possibly Bol. Do I think Bol is this big difference maker? No. But on a team like the Warriors, he definitely helps, because then you have the big man depth of post Trace Jackson Davis, Bol, and Al Horford. You have Kuminga, Moody, Pods, Seth Curry, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond. I think that team is a good team. I don't think that they're the most legit team in the world, but I think that they could be, a team that attempts to go pretty far in the Western Conference. Maybe they don't get it done, but, nothing worth, I might as well try. I think that there's no reason to give up now or try to move on and blow up your team with a guy like Steph coming to the end of his career. He knows it. I think the organization knows it. I think they're trying to go all in to make one run, and having a guy like Seth Curry on their roster definitely helps out the three-point shooting of him, Buddy Hield, and Pods all together, especially if they're all coming off the bench together. Now, talking about deadly three-point shooting, we have a guy that was on the Nuggets last year who was just on an interview and made a comment about Denver winning a championship without him. That is Michael Porter Jr., and he has nothing but good things to say about Denver, and it's great to see that. He did speak about him being excited to play against Denver again, and he's going to go at them. He knows they're going to go at him, but he did say, or when he was asked if Denver can win a championship without him, he said, yeah, 100%. I think he understands and realizes how good Jamal and Jokic were, and he said that they do nothing but advance in their games, and they're continuing to excel. And he said they're a special team. He goes, obviously I'm going to go at them head to head, but it was nice hearing that, hearing the good things that he has to say about Denver after Denver did trade him. There was the comment about Coach Malone that came out, or that he made recently, that left a bad taste in, I guess, all Denver fans' mouths. So, like I said, it's nice to hear that from MPJ after being traded. Anyway, that is all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment below if you guys want me to cover anything, and I will get to those. And I will have an episode out for you guys tomorrow. So, like I said, thank you guys for supporting. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you guys later.